And at the bell. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday morning, the 1st of December. Wow, wow, wow. Welcome to Morning Coffee with Mitch on this Monday morning. And as usual, drink it if you got it. Oh, that's good. That's good. Good to see everybody. Well, at least all 26 of you so far on this Monday morning. I go to all this trouble to make such a nice opening, and very few people actually get to see it, unless you watch the replays. Anyway, good morning to you. Beautiful morning out here this morning, about 66, 68 degrees outside. Sun is shining, and here we go. Here we go. Get rid of the music. Super. Super. I hope you all had a great weekend, holiday weekend, Thanksgiving. A long weekend, and now it's back at it. Do any of us really get all fired up in December? Or are we already starting to celebrate the Christmas holiday with all of its advertisements and shopping and specials and deals and more excuses for more sales and more ways to spend our money? Capitalism at its finest. Still, in my opinion, the best system to live under. So, as we wait for more people to show up, here we go. Up to 40, was that 43 so far? It's great to see you. Great to see you. Oh, again, drink it if you got it. I've been up since about 6, and I've been looking at my YouTube feed this morning, and I go into my subscriptions tab because my recommended tab has become useless, absolutely useless. I would say that at least half, if not more, of the videos that showed up in my recommended tab were AI, completely AI-generated stuff from channel names I'd never heard of. And these new channels keep popping up faster than anybody can imagine because they're all computer generated. And it's becoming useless to me, this recommended tab. I don't know how YouTube figures that out. So what I do now when I open up my browser is I go right to my subscriptions tab, and at least that way I get to see the videos from people that I want to see videos from. Now, I know that in my recommended tab, my morning live stream always shows up, so that's good. But it's getting harder and harder. More clickbait, more AI. And I'm beginning to recognize from the titles which ones of these things are AI generated. And one of the trends seems to be any video title that starts with things like the 5 best, the 20 best, the 7 reasons, the 80 most popular things, the 20 most popular gadgets on Amazon. Every one of those is AI generated. And a waste of time. A waste of time. I've also noticed that the narration in all these videos is of an AI generated voice reading from an AI generated script. That's a very disturbing trend, because it's bad enough that we're all connected to this social media stuff, to YouTube, to Facebook, to Instagram. But what's worse is when we find that we're basically just connected to a machine feeding us whatever it wants us to believe. And I'm finding more and more that, just like shopping on Amazon, when you see the thing on Amazon that says Amazon recommended, that's generated by some algorithm designed to sell you the most profitable thing for them to sell you, and always comes up at the top of the recommendations. And I've learned the hard way that may not be in our best interest. So you gotta keep that in mind now. Whenever you consume any content from media of any kind, you got to assume that behind it is not your best interest, unless you know that it's not AI generated, or that the data that you're getting is not AI generated, or that the script that this is using is not AI generated, because it's not generally in your best interest, but in the best interest of whoever is trying to sell you something. So I try to watch, if I can avoid them, I try to watch just the videos from those people that I know are real people. I'm really listening to their voice. And unfortunately, as much as all of this stuff is growing and growing and growing, less and less of it seems to be genuine and real and believable. What really gets my goat is that all of this AI-generated crap with the clickbaity thumbnails are making a fortune. They're making a ton of money. They're getting hundreds of millions of views. And those of us, and I see that in my own subscription feed when I look at the number of views we're getting from even the most popular in our carnivore space, our view count and our viewership is insignificant, minuscule. The big guys, Anthony Chafee, I watched his latest video this morning, and I noticed that he got a lot of views on it in a short period of time, but it was slick. It was him, and certainly it was his, but it was professionally produced and edited, and most of the images that were used in that video were AI-generated images and short video clips. That's great. I mean, it's not deceptive, but it shows me that if you want to get anywhere on YouTube, you have to play by the new rules that seem to be necessary for YouTube to propagate your videos so you get any kind of decent views. It's one of the reasons that I'm not making many videos these days. It's not worth all the work and the editing anymore, because the view counts and any small amount of advertising revenue that we might make are not commensurate with the time and energy and effort put into it. And that's sad. But that's capitalism, I suppose. And I'll drink to that. And see if you... Yes, one. I can always count on you for some comment like this. Chafee's girlfriend looks AI. What the heck is he thinking? Oh, he's thinking like most men think. Trophy. Trophy. Hey, Peter's here. Peter, back from the nearly dead. How you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Chafee's fiance, Ellie Marie, is not AI. She's just very pretty. I'm sure DS111 knows that. I'm sure he knows that. I'm sure he was just... He's 10,000 unemployed comedians in this country, and most of them congregate here with me in the morning, and I probably put myself into the same category. That's great. That's great. Anyway, there's just some observations about the way the world is going, because that's what I do. That's what I do. I observe and try to come to some conclusion. I am scared to death about how fast and how powerful this artificial intelligence, which I think we ought to call AP instead of AI, artificial propaganda, because as we know, so much of that information you get off of Google, especially in the nutrition space, is wrong. It's just pure wrong. It's the last 100 years of propaganda nicely summarized. Just going, you can, by phrasing the questions in certain ways, drill down and find the real stuff. But if you just go on the surface and you just ask Google, what's the healthiest diet? Is red meat healthy? Things like that. You're going to get the propaganda, not the real truth. Rick says, Chafee's gal isn't my type. What is your type, Rick? Because we'll find a girl for you if you could just tell us what your type is. We have no idea. Oh yeah, now you're tearing up Chafee and his girlfriend. How did we go there? How did we go there? Rick says, I'm building a second door to keep Milton from running out. Oh my God. How our lives are dictated by our pets. At any rate, it's a great morning. It's a good morning. See, the gang's all here. I'm in a great mood this morning. Starting out this last month of, holy mackerel, last month, 30-day countdown to income taxes being due again. Now, I didn't make nearly as much money last year because of the stroke and everything. And just the way YouTube's going. I didn't make hardly anything last year compared to the year before. Now, that's good news and bad news. The good news is I had pretty much everything I needed to not have money problems, and that was good. And the better news is that I won't have to pay many taxes next year because I made almost very little of any money on YouTube, and I made my money doing my software stuff, but that's as an employee of my daughter, and she withholds my taxes, so it's already paid. And when I get the 1099s from Amazon and Google. After I put away the crying towel, the good news is going to be I probably won't owe taxes on it. So, and taxes on my Social Security, because I know there's no way in hell last year that I hit the threshold where I have to start paying taxes on my Social Security. So in that respect, I made some money. It's a shame that our world has to work that way. Peter says, Mitch, I agree with Rick. You have been in a much better mood lately since changing your video and live schedule. Yeah, it's been better for me. I've been working less. Now I still want to make a cooking video. I still want to, but what to talk about? What to talk about? That's the biggest problem. Oh, ask anybody, any one of our community that's in the carnivore YouTube space, especially the newer people. What do you talk about that hasn't already been talked about 1,000 times in something as simple as the carnivore lifestyle without being falling into the trap of having to overcomplicate it just as an excuse to have something to talk about to grow your channel. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to grow your channel. Why would you do this if you didn't want to grow your channel? But to keep it simple, which means workable, which means without agonizing as a viewer about, do I need to worry about that on top of everything else I'm trying to figure out? Overcomplicating it is what gets us in trouble, and it gets most people to fail, or just say too much to worry about. And any excuse or a propaganda that you find that would make you think that eating too much meat is bad for you, or something like that, not getting any carbohydrates, it's enough to say, I can't do this because I don't know if I'm doing it right. My doctor is just driving me crazy and hounding me about the fact that I'm killing myself. And look at old Mitch. Old Mitch had a stroke on carnivore, so it must be bad. It's so easy to rationalize or find an excuse. And no matter how much I protest, that my stroke probably wasn't as bad as it could have been, and I've recovered much faster because of carnivore, most people who hear that at first glance, that I'm a carnivore and I had a stroke, immediately fall into the camp that it must have been all that meat. Now we've already completely debunked this nonsense about the digestibility of red meat, haven't we? 18, 20 pounds of undigested red meat in your colon. Well, we know that's not true. Any of us that have really been faithful to carnivore and have lived on only meat know that our whole GI tract and our regularity and bathroom adventures have become very, very normal. And we're not bloated all the time. We don't feel like we're carrying 20 pounds of undigested red. There is no undigested red meat, because if you only ate red meat, you'd hardly go to the bathroom at all. And then if you went and got a colonoscopy and did one of those colon cleanse things where you really dumped yourself completely clean, no undigested red meat would ever come out. You never see any undigested red meat in your toilet bowl. You never see people like Lee Copus, Kent Carnivore, who has no colon, talk about how much undigested red meat ends up in his ostomy bag? It's just pure bullshit, yet they keep saying it and they keep talking about it. And we keep hearing about it. And most of us aren't privy to all of the proof that that stuff is indeed propaganda from vegans. Now, the one good thing about Anthony Chaffee's latest video, where he says basically, how would you, if we're not carnivores, explain this? It was a short video. It was well edited, even though I don't like this new style, and very informative. And he shows about the history of the human race and how little problems they had until about 10 or 15,000 years ago when the agricultural revolution, and a short tour through the actual real archaeological and anthropological evidence that it wasn't until humans started agriculture, especially the ancient Greeks and Romans, that these new chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease and dementia started to crop up, and it coincided with humans getting shorter, their brains getting smaller, and it was a well-presented piece, and it got a lot of views, but still, tens of thousands of views is not tens of millions of views, which is what all the other stuff gets. And even with tens of thousands of views, one of these YouTube videos that you spent all that money on professional editors and everything, probably still won't break even when it comes to the advertising revenue of $3 or $4 per 1,000 views. It's just not there. And speaking of money, I'm going to shamelessly, if I can find it, put up my Buy Me a Coffee little thing up there in the corner, QR code, and please remind you, it's the first of the month. And if you feel like supporting my efforts, I really appreciate it. And many of you do. And for those of you that do regularly, thank you very much as well. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But I'll leave that up there for a little while, because it doesn't get in the way. First one in. Wow, I already burned up 20 minutes and I haven't even gotten to this. Mary M. last night, Lady June, how you doing? Mike, is this Michael Pregler? It's got to be Michael Pregler, even though it's that looks like pain. That's you, Mike, isn't it? I'm pretty sure it is. Good morning, 12.3 inches. Wow. Lady June checked in at about 1:30 in the morning, but she's in England. Then we had Michael Silly from Tampa up and at him early at 6:20. We had Wayne Herman checked in from North Carolina. How you doing, Wayne? And this is Brian Dish. Hi, Brian. Trying to get used to this new way that YouTube puts the names up there. How you doing, Brian? Good to see you. From the last month of 2025. Yeah. Wow. Hard to believe. It's been to call it a strange year for me would be an understatement. I started off this year doing great. February, boom. And the rest of the year has been, as I look back, something I wouldn't wish on my worst. Well, I might wish it on my worst enemy, but not pleasant. And I keep trying to figure, is there something I could have done? So some way I could have anticipated this? And the answer is absolutely no. I was doing everything in my power to be as healthy as I could. But a little blood clot happened somewhere, ended up to my brain, and voila, stroke. And it took a lot of guts for me to go against all the advice and all the medical community coming at me from every direction, wanting me on statins, telling me I had to lower, it was my cholesterol that did it, wanting me on all kinds of blood thinning medication and other things that they would normally treat a stroke, recommending that I don't eat meat, that I eat a vegetarian diet. If I had followed their advice, we probably wouldn't be here this morning. I can almost say that for sure because I've watched so many of my friends and neighbors follow that same advice, and it killed them. It killed them. They just became sicker and fatter, more diabetic. And I watched them deteriorate in less than a year. And they were gone. And they were gone. And oftentimes much younger than me. So I'm convinced I did the right thing. But how can any of us know for sure? So we'll see. We'll see. If we're still here in 10 years and I'm still here drinking coffee, morning coffee with Mitch, two things have happened. I still think it's worth my time and energy to do this. And that's up to you too. If you keep supporting me. If nobody supports me anymore, I don't see any reason to be here. And I don't just mean money support. I mean just showing up and finding something worthwhile. And I actually live and stay healthy enough to continue to do this once I get to be 80 and above, because that's rarefied air, my friends. Look around. Look around on YouTube. Find anybody close to my age that does what I do on YouTube in our space. There isn't anybody. So it's the fact that I show up, I keep showing up, even if I'm a little flaky lately about the scheduling, is in itself, I think, a monumental achievement. And the fact that you guys come here is complimentary and flattering to me. Makes me feel relevant and somewhat useful. And it's a validation for the fact that some people actually think that maybe I'm a smart guy and have some wisdom from a lifetime of observations. And that's why I do this. That's why we do this. And I have to sometimes remind myself, why the hell do you do that? You could be doing other things. Why do you do that? And the answer is, it took me a lifetime, not just to learn about diet, but to learn about the world and how it works. To learn what is common sense and what isn't. What's reality and what's fantasy that is maybe fun to believe, but doesn't do us any good. I mean, the superheroes are all great. They're great, you know, the Marvel comics and Iron Man and all of them. They're great, but they're not real. They don't do us any good. Star Trek, it's fun to watch, but it's not real. It doesn't really help us with our real problems in life. It's a diversion. And that's the problem in this world, is that the things that sell, the things that become popular, it's a shame that they have to be the things that are diversions from what's really important to us, our health, our family. And more of us spend most of our day trying to escape reality instead of being able to happily live in reality and find something fulfilling about it. And I think that's very important. And I hope, at least for an hour or so here in the morning, we can dwell and concentrate on and separate reality from fantasy and inject some common sense into, I think, what has become a senseless a senseless world as I look around. Oh, I got a coffee or something. Let me see here. It says here that Dave built me a coffee. Thank you, Dave. Thanks for the entertainment. I'm not drinking coffee, but cheers with a salted glass of water. Ha! Thank you, Dave. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. And let's see what else I got. Ollie Wells sent me an announcement. How are you? I hope you had a good thing. Dr. Kiltz is hosting a Tampa meetup on January 31st. I'd love to have you come and speak. I think you and Dr. Kiltz are friends again. That's you put it as his joke. Please let me know if you would like to come and speak. Sincerely, Ollie. Of course I would. Kiltzy and I, we're brothers. We're brothers. Sometimes brothers and sisters fight like cats and dogs, but they're still brothers and sisters. Isn't that nice? Thank you, Alia. I will reply to Alia. And what else? I got a bunch of. And Cyber Monday sale? Yeah. And YouTube shopping. Earn a performance bonus from YouTube shopping. That's all they care about. All YouTube cares about is me earning money so they can take their cut of it. Meanwhile, YouTube's earning a friggin' fortune, and I'm not. So, what a world. What a world. Oh, up to 92 people. Oh, good. I'm still saying good morning to people. Let's see. Who else was here? Thomas was here early, and Rick chimed in. Hi, Rick. Lucy Work was here. Richard Williams from Copperhill, Tennessee. Terry said good morning, Mitch, in the last month. Yes, it is, December. And this is Steve Rogers, a.k.a. Captain America, superhero from Kansas City, Missouri. Welcome. Francine Bourgeois from Montreal. Hi, Francine. How you doing? And I know this is microplagular, so I'm going to assume that it is that time again. More snow on its way. Larry Ryan is here this morning. Hiya, Larry. And let's see who made the first one in. It was Larry. Yeah. Larry Ryan did it at 9 o'clock. Rick right after, and Jerry Hall, John. Hiya, John. Together strong. Good to see you. And this is Sandy Blythe is here. Donna Ray, Bacon Runner, how you doing? Diesel Doc, good morning from Texas. Good morning to you, my friend. Good to see you. Jerry Hall again. Brenda McIntyre, hiya, Brenda. Don't let your meat loaf. Always. Good words to live by. Edward Renner is here. Slow Old Me. Wow, good morning. I haven't seen that one before. Welcome if you're still here. And who else we got? Peter chimed in way back then. How you doing? Good. It's good to see you, Peter. I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm back from the dead. The doc gave me a strong antibiotic, fortified amoxicillin, to kill off the bacterial infection in my chest. Feeling a lot better now. Well, there are times when the pharmaceutical companies actually come through, and it's a good thing we got them. The problem is the directions they take, where they make their really big profits, aren't in the drugs that really do some good. It's in statins, GLP-1 drugs, weight loss drugs. These are the trillion-dollar drugs. And unfortunately, they don't do for people to take them what that antibiotic did for you. And they've lost their way. But they just keep growing and get bigger and bigger. And got to make that kind of money. Aaron is here. How you doing, Aaron? Good to see you. And Mark C. Hi, Mark. Good morning, my friend. How are you? Who is this? Tanya First reset or just stay strong? Well, December is, this whole time of year is a rough time of year when it comes to food consumption. And there's a lot of potential New Year's resolutions being formed at the moment. And so many of them will have to be revisited on January 1st after the battle. And it is a battle because there's two things that these holidays revolve around, unfortunately. Well, maybe three. First is shopping, spending all your money on stuff you probably don't need. So people will think kindly of you because you got to give them gifts. Second thing, food, because all celebrations in our culture revolve around food. And the third thing, of course, is drink. We as carnivores, or ketovores, or keto, or healthy eaters, low carbers, let's call it that. Because low carb is the overall description of what works. It doesn't cure addictions too well, but it does work as a health and weight loss mechanism, low carb, because that's the problem. I know there's a big push talking about the damage that seed oils do, but I think we all ate, back in the 70s and 60s, we still all ate the seed oils, but we weren't eating nearly the sugar, and we weren't nearly as sick as we are today. I think it's a metabolic disease, and seed oils, as bad as they are, and as much oxidative stress as they put on the body, aren't really a metabolic disorder. They are more like oxidation, like an old car rusting. I think it's the fuel that the energy is made out of that creates the metabolic disorder, and I think that's where the overabundance of sugars, and of course toxic chemicals, but sugars, and in a small respect, plant toxins and antinutrients. I think that anybody that isn't addicted to sugar to the point where they can't stop and they can't keep from binging, like me, can do okay with a low-carb diet, 50 grams a day, some people even 100, and still be healthy and be okay. Maybe not optimum health, but who among us are? So the holidays are dangerous. The holidays are dangerous and full of traps. It's easier for me because basically I stay home all the time. I stay home all the time. Jane bought me a coffee. Thank you, Jane. Thank you so much. Good morning, my fave, Mitch, with a coffee cup and a heart. Thank you so much, Jane. Appreciate that. Very, very kind of you. And let's see. That's it so far. Jane and Dave, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, let me transition over here to the chat on the screen here. You can see me moving my mouse over it and back up a little bit. In fact, let me search. Let me search for QQQs in here. So we will type in QQ, 2 Qs. Okay. Carnivore Jerry, right here, says, what is your opinion of how many of the lives we, parentheses, Rick, Amy, Russ, are doing now? It's like Jerry Seinfeld says, our lives are a show about nothing. They are just fun. That's interesting. That's interesting. The carnivore aspect of what we're doing, and the fact that we can be an example of the results of that lifestyle, are not just for fun. That's a mission, kind of a mission statement. That's the underlying, I think, and sole driving force behind why we all do what we do. But, don't get me wrong, but we're all human beings. We're all human beings. And what would life be if we weren't having fun? And what can be more important than having community or family? That's always boils down to the main reason I don't stop doing this, because the one thing I'd have to give up that I don't want to live without is this community, because I have no community other than a couple of kids outside of this, and my kids are living their own lives. And I don't want to be a lonely old man living by himself. I like this community. That's why I'm saying probably the only thing that would get me to quit this is if my community abandoned me and stopped showing up. And I'm sure everybody, Rick, Amy, Russ, and I'll add some more names to that, Aaron, Juliet, Peter. Well, everybody that's here this morning, virtually all of you, feel the same connection. It is, and should be fun. We need to have fun, too. We can't always be so deadly serious. I fall into that trap sometime. Depending on my mood, and I don't normally get in a bad mood, but when I'm barraged by 1 hour or 2 hours of propaganda, when watching what's happening on YouTube, I get disgusted. And most times my mood is propelled by my disgust for human behavior. But I get over it. I'm not a moody person. I try to be a happy person. I try to, look out at nature and look at the world and put life in perspective, especially at my age. I wonder how much of it do I actually have left, and what do I want to do with it? Do I want to be mean and miserable, trying to change things I can't? No, I'll never change it. Nobody can change it. We're on a course now, and the course doesn't look good, but I don't think it's fixable. That's sad, but that's still reality, and I live in a world of reality, not of fantasy. So, yeah, we're supposed to have fun. And if I ever forget that, slap me in the face. Will you guys throw cold water on me and say, Mitch, you forgot why you're here. You're here because of us. And we want to have fun. I want the right message to get out. And I don't want to be responsible for somehow sabotaging the message of healthy eating and carnivore lifestyle. So I have to sometimes be reminded that it's okay to take some time off from that, because that's very simple. Eat meat. Eat the right ratio of fat to meat. Eat it at the right schedule for you. And that's about it. And let's have some fun. That's why my private community live streams, the one thing we very rarely talk about, believe it or not, is carnivore. We talk about everything. We have fun. We have fun. Like-minded people having fun. And so that's a great question. Great question, and I appreciate that. Give me And it looks like that's the only question so far in the whole chat. So if you got something to say or you have a question to ask me, go ahead. Meanwhile, Loretta, thank you. Loretta says, let your hot be hot, Mitch, your cold be cold. You are definitely not lukewarm, which is fun. Oh, yeah. I try not to be boring. I'm doing 6 live streams a week. 2 for the private community and 4 for everybody. Plus maybe an occasional pop-up. And it's got to be somewhat entertaining or people are going to get bored. And, you know, I'm a realist enough to know that I'm not the reason that so many of you come to these morning coffee things. You come because, just like me, you appreciate your friends, people you become friendly with. And Tuesday night on the private community live stream, Barry Simon's going to be there, and we're going to talk about arranging that Mitch Fitz meet up, and maybe sometime immediately before or after Kiltz's deal in Tampa. Might not be a great time to have that, kind of like a pre-Tampa meeting over here in Melbourne. So if somebody's coming to Florida, traveling down here for that, like I'm pretty sure Barry will, because that's where I met him last year, in February. That can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So we'll talk about that on Tuesday night. Let's see here. Marla Kelly says, good morning, all. Good morning, Marla. How are you? And Lewis is here. Hi, Lewis. Lewis Latito. Good to see you. Good to see you. Brian Dish is with us. And Jay Dulles 1, my wife makes fun of me and says, did you learn that from your time at Johns? Was that J. Kyles? Q-U-I-L-E-S. Wow. Hi, Jay. Don't know that name. Good to see you. Good to see you. Mary Beth says, I will continue 6 years on December 21st. Wow. Wow. That's a long time. That's a long time. I've been carnivore. I've been keto, low carb for 50-some years, but on and off because of my addiction. But I've been keto, actually real keto, for at least 6, 7, 8 years, and carnivore 3 years, 4 months, 5 months, something like that. Carnivore can definitely be the divisive argument. Yes, it can, Jay. Yes, it can. Mike from Canada. Good morning, Mitch, and everyone. Good morning, Mike from Canada. How are you? How are you? I have been recommending videos to people lately, making a lot of standalone videos. But I did see a video, which was pretty good. It was about the history of the Western diet over the last 100 years. And it was a pretty good representation of how we got here. Let me see. I don't know if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it in my viewing history, and I'll throw you a link to it. Oh, look, I only have 46 emails in my junk email folder. Now, you may say, that doesn't sound like a lot, Mitch. I've got thousands of mine. Yes, but that's since last night before I went to bed when I cleaned it out. 46 junk emails in 10 hours. Wow, that's crazy. At one point during the weekend, I actually went in and had over 100. I cleaned that email box out twice, 3 times a day, and I got up to over 100 junk emails. Any of you like me feel like you're got a target on your back and you're under attack by all the frauds and crooks and thieves out there in the world trying to ruin you and steal from you? That's a hell of a way to live. Makes you want to throw away all the technology, but none of us really ever do it. Let's see, where's my deleted folder here and see if I can find that. Here it is. Okay. It's still in my deleted folder. I hadn't gotten rid of it yet. The title of the video is 100 Years of the American Diet Experience. And let me put it in here, 100 years. So you'll know what it is, and put the link to it in there. And you click on that and copy it. It's a great video, and something that I think that everybody, especially people new to carnivore, should see. And it starts around the time that Crisco, probably one of the first major things to happen, introduced seed oils into the American diet, and the years that followed that, and I'm sure they really believed that it was healthy back then because they had no way of knowing. Seemed like a good idea to make something that looked like animal fat but really wasn't. And it kind of, I think that it kind of gave way to everything that followed, or at least validated everything that followed. This book here, you can't read the title on it because it's almost faded away. This is a book that was published in and I got this from C.B. Carmack, who sent it to me. And the title of the book, I can find it here somewhere. It's an old book. The Story of Crisco. And it really is an old book, and it's a book, tells the story of how Crisco was founded, and it's a book of recipes. And it was published in 1913. And I thank C.B. Carmack for sending me this. He found it. And it's a part of history, because if not for the fact that they invented Crisco, the beginning of the vegetable shortening seed oils craze, over 100 years ago, I don't know if the Ellen G. White and the Adventists would have gotten the traction they did. I don't know if Ansel Keys. Now, it's kind of evident that they probably would have stumbled upon artificial fats eventually, but, you know, in order for things to have happened the way they did, an infinite number of little tiny things have to happen along the way, any one of which could have thrown a monkey wrench into the works. That's called the butterfly effect. It's kind of obvious to each of us in our own lives. And if anybody doesn't believe in the butterfly effect, go back over your entire life and think about every situation that changed the actual course of your life, where you met the woman or man you eventually married, where you avoided what might have been a crippling or deadly car accident by mere inches. Think back about every one of those things that happened, and think about how many different ways things could have happened just differently enough that the outcome of that would have changed your life dramatically. I look back when I met my second wife. Matter of seconds of me being in exactly that place at that time. It had been 5 seconds later, I would not have ruined my life by marrying that woman. So we all have that. Now multiply that by almost infinite number of things that happened to you in your life. Maybe if you had left the house a minute earlier on any day, you would have gotten into a car accident that you didn't get into because you left when you did. If you did get into a car accident, if you had left the house 5 minutes one way or the other, you would not have gotten into the car accident. That is totally and completely random. There is no plan for that. That is the odds are so huge that things happen the way they happened that we have to just accept that as reality. And as we wander through life and bang into things. If Crisco hadn't been invented in 1911, if books like this hadn't been published, everything would have been different. Everything would have been different. If the meteor that hit, or the comet that hit Earth 66 million years ago had just hit, if the Earth had rotated maybe a half a turn more before it hit, everything that happened since that moment would have been completely different. More than likely, the dinosaurs would not have been killed off. If the dinosaurs hadn't been killed off, the small mammals that managed to survive the dinosaurs and live underground would still be living underground. Who knows what would have happened to life on this planet had the Earth only a couple hours later or earlier, or the trajectory of that asteroid wasn't exactly what it was. Those are the things that have happened in our history. And the odds that things would have been exactly like they are today is almost non-existent because of all the accidents that happened. And if you find that as fascinating as I do, you can go on and explore the actual events that happened over evolutionary times, where there have been instances where it came down to one bacteria bumping into one other bacteria at a certain point, which set the course for everything that followed. That's how ridiculously high the odds are that intelligent life would form, and why we're not being visited every day by aliens. Because there are those that think that the odds are so great, even with the size of the universe, that events could coincide to where intelligent life would evolve, may not have actually happened anywhere in the universe, even though the building blocks of life exist everywhere in the universe. And the fact that there might be microbial life in abundance throughout the universe. But to have a multi-cell, intelligent human being evolve required a chain of events, the odds of which probably would never have ever happen again. There's a thing called the Fermi paradox. If you're fascinated by how unlikely it is that we even exist, like I am, study this stuff. It's fascinating. It's interesting. But anyway, I digress. And maybe the reason people come here is because I do digress into things other than just eat meat. Because I don't think there are many of us here that aren't already convinced that this is the best diet. And if I can do nothing else by coming on every morning, then satisfying any doubts that you might have that this is the way we're supposed to eat, then I've accomplished something. At any rate, it's 10 o'clock, my friends. And I'm, again, trying to keep with my desire to keep it to an hour, as to not get boring. I will see you tomorrow night on the private community live stream at 8 p.m. If you're not a member of the private community, give it a try for a month. Spend $4 and come and see it. It's it's a lot of fun. It's the best, let's say, sense of community you'll ever get. Loretta Nadav's here. How you doing, Fro Grandma? Time to let go of Mitch. Well, I'll be back, and I'll be back Wednesday morning. Same time, 9 a.m. Have a great day, says Mike Seeley. You too, Michael. DS111. Mitch. Jem says, Mitch, have a great day. Thank you, Jem. Thank you, Jem. I didn't think I said hi to you yet today, but... And bye, everybody. And Carnivore Farm Mom, she's here. How you doing this morning? Very Beth says, thank you, everyone. Girl Grandma says, hit the like. Carnivore Farm Mom says, eat the bread. Eat the meat, rather. Excuse me. Eat the meat, not the bread. Wise. Very wise saying. Okay, my friends. Goodbye to all of you. Thanks so much for coming in. I'm going to get on with my day. Maybe go for a little walk. And I will see you tomorrow evening. Maybe a video, maybe not. I don't know yet. I have a couple that I might want to do. A couple of cooking videos I want to do. We'll see if I get them done. If not, I will see you then. So for now, take the rest of the day off and eat meat.